You're listening to the Mindful Mama podcast, episode 124. Today we're talking about how to go from a sense of lack to enjoying abundance. Welcome to the Mindful Mama podcast. Here it's about becoming a less irritable, more joyful parent. At Mindful Mama, we know that you cannot give what you do not have, and when you are thriving, when you have calm and peace within, then you can give it to your children. I'm your host, Hunter Clark-Field's Mindful Mama mentor. I coach overstressed moms on how to cultivate self-awareness in their daily lives and to take family and life to a new level of peace and cooperation. I've been practicing yoga and mindfulness for over 20 years. I'm the creator of the Mindful Parenting course, and I'm the mom of two girls ages 8 and 11. Yikes, holy moly. Hey, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. So glad to connect with you again. I can't wait to dive into this podcast, this topic of abundance and lack. And before we dive in, if you're new, I just want to give you a special shout out, special welcome. And I want to give those who have been leaving iTunes reviews a special thank you for the iTunes reviews as well. In this episode, we're going to be talking about something I see a lot in my clients, and I see a lot as a problem happening just generally in the world. And, you know, it's really interesting. Oprah, I think she used to say there's only two emotions. There's love and fear. And sometimes I think about it that way. In some ways, like every way we approach things, it really does either come from sort of this sense of love or this sense of fear. So today we're going to talk about how to go from this sense of lack to this sense of abundance. And we're going to talk about three big ways. I want you to stay tuned for three big ways that you can put yourself into a state of abundance, of appreciation more. But, you know, we're also going to talk about how easy it is and to be in a state of lack and sort of fear and worry and all that stuff we fall into. It's so normal and so common. And I absolutely see it myself. I'm certainly not perfect in this. And I see it in my clients. And we're going to talk about a little bit about why this is. But I think it's sometimes it can be especially hard for moms. We get to this place where we're sort of isolated, right? Like we're no longer in our tribe with aunties and uncles around, and you know, where you get a break, and it's so intensified. And you know, you see social media where everybody's like, oh, it looks like everybody else is doing so great. But yeah, so it's really easy to be there. I mean, I can remember sitting in the playroom with Maggie when she was 2 years old and feeling so stuck there, feeling so like, oh, like what can I do to sort of get out of this? You know, I was alone with my, you know, demanding daughter, pretending to be interested in what she was doing. But for that moment anyway, like really just wanting to be somewhere else. I was bored. And at the time, I wasn't doing work that I loved. I didn't have enough time for myself. And all I could see were barriers. So that's all I found. I wonder if you can relate. So looking back now, I can really see that I was in a mindset of lack and a mindset of scarcity. My brain was really stuck in a negative feedback loop. And the more I focused on my frustration, the more my frustration grew. So I headed for the chocolate in the pantry, and there was a lot of chocolate eaten in those days. Yeah, you know, that mindset, it's definitely revisited me in plenty of stages along the parenting journey. When all I wanted in the world was for my child to cooperate with me, all I saw were the things she did wrong. And then the more problems I saw in her, the more problems I saw. You know, I just kept seeing, my critical mind, would go into overdrive, and I would see these problems. And I definitely see this in a lot of parents I work with in mindful parenting course and also in my coaching programs. And when and I've definitely been there for myself when I started blogging, when the girls were younger, and I started to kind of lead with the thought, I don't have enough time for this. Ha ha ha. All I saw was how busy I was, and I really squeezed things in, writing out my frustration at the playground in my little black and white Mead notebook. I just really feeling like stuck in that place. And each time I fell into the scarcity mindset, I felt stuck and hopeless. I wanted things to be different, but I didn't know what to do, except maybe that whole American thing, like just work harder, the American way, right? Be busier, squeeze more in. So maybe that's what I did, but each time I would look at others and my mind would judge and compare, and always with my own situation kind of coming up short. I wonder if you can relate. Do you get this way sometimes? And sometimes we can find ourselves in this place of wanting and needing and desiring, and sometimes this place feels really desperate, heavy, or never ending, and you can't see your way out. And whether you are experiencing or starting to notice yourself focusing on what's missing or going wrong, or and this can be in noticing what's missing or going wrong in a lot of different areas in your life. It could be focusing on low funds, arguing with your partner about what's not being done or done wrong, your child being unruly and difficult with you. You might be focusing on feeling lonely and like you don't have enough support and love, in your friendships and your partner. You might be focusing on that feeling like you need to find, you might even be wanting to find a significant other, right? Or you might feel stuck at work and hate your job and wonder why other people kind of get to live this life of their dreams and you don't, right? We can get stuck in this really heavy place of this mindset of wanting and needing and feeling really stuck. And this, the list can go on and on. We don't want to we don't want to stay there for too long. I mean, really it's really a scarcity mindset. And the scarcity mindset is driven from a really tenacious false belief. And just as a side note, a little note about beliefs, right? What are beliefs? When we're in them, we just think this is just the way things are. But really, beliefs are the thoughts that we think again and again, and that we choose to believe them and live our life by them. But they're just simply stories that we tell about the way things are. And we say, this are the way things are, right? So these sort of false beliefs can pop into our head. And when we're in them, it's like we're under the waterfall and we're in the water and we're just totally wet and soaked in it, right? We're like fish who don't see the water. And hopefully things like this podcast and mindfulness and things can help you start to see these stories, that we tell ourselves as sort of the framework for the way we look at our world. Okay. So like a little kind of side note on that. Scarcity mindset is definitely one of them. It's driven from this false belief that the universe is like a pie, and when one person takes a slice, then there's less for the rest of us. And if you have this false belief, then you're not alone. It's really common, and it really, our culture kind of works from this place that there's only so much to go around. Is what our culture sort of leads from. But the truth is, like, you just look at the weeds growing up in the cracks in the sidewalk and you start to see, oh my gosh, there's so much. The universe is actually always growing and life is always flowing and becoming more and more. It's really amazing. But this belief, this scarcity belief, this only one piece of pie, or, get your piece of pie kind of belief, and that leaves less for the rest of us, that mindset can really leave you feeling like a victim. And when we're in this place, we blame others, we blame our circumstances, we blame ourselves for our state. But feeling like a victim doesn't empower you to make a change. When you're feeling stuck and hopeless and like a victim, then you're not in a great place to make some change in your life and how you're experiencing this world. And scarcity can also cause suffering when actually our lives are going really well, right? This idea that there's only so much to go around can actually drive us to feel guilty for our own happiness. So I have a client I was talking to about this the other night. Her life's going really well. Like, she has 4 wonderful kids. Like, she loves them. She has a job she's really happy with. She has family and friends and all these things. She doesn't feel like she's allowed to enjoy this. Because because other people are suffering, so who is she to enjoy her life? Does this strike you as a little strange? Maybe you feel this way too, actually. But it's really, and I've definitely felt this way for sure. But it's kind of crazy, when if other people are suffering, we can't be miserable enough to help them be happy. You can't get sick enough to make someone healthy. You can't get poor enough to make another person rich. And you really can't be unhappy enough to make others happy. In fact, this really points to the problem with the only so much pie to go around mindset, because the truth is that, when you're around a happy person, that's infectious and it grows and it makes that happiness grow in you. And when you're around somebody who's really miserable, right? Like, that misery, that kind of, you feel that energy too. So actually, when you make yourself happy, when you make yourself contented and peaceful, you make more peace in the universe for all of us. You're doing something that's great for all of us, right? So why is this the way it is? Why do so many of us suffer from this scarcity mindset? And one of the things that really, for me, I see as a reason for this is our innate negativity bias. Your brain is simply built with a greater sensitivity to bad news. And this bias is so automatic that it can actually be detected in the earliest stages of the brain's information processing. So there were studies done by this guy named John. I'm gonna mess up his name. Poor John. Cacioppo. Cacioppo at Ohio State University. Sorry, John. And he showed people pictures that were known to arouse positive feelings, like a Ferrari or a pizza, and those certain to stir up negative feelings, like a mutilated face or a dead cat, and those known to produce neutral feelings, like a plate or a hairdryer. And then while he did this, he recorded the electrical activity in the brain's cerebral cortex that reflects the magnitude of information processing taking place. So how much the brain is focusing kind of on this thing, right? So he demonstrated that the brain reacts much more strongly to negative things. And there's this huge, much greater surge in electrical activity. And so our attitudes are more heavily influenced by downbeat news than good news. And this is this innate negativity bias, right? This capacity to, put much more importance on the negative, it evolved for a really good reason, to keep us out of harm's way. And, from the dawn of human history, our very survival depended on our skill at dodging danger. So it's much more important to be aware of the tiger in the bushes than to enjoy the beauty of the sunset. So it's just something to really understand about ourselves, that we have this normal, natural thing that is, our brain is going to focus more heavily on the negative. But what's cool for us is that we have neuroplasticity. And we have a wonderful, amazing practice called mindfulness. And neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to, develop new connections throughout life, ability to grow and change and create new strengths. And what neuroplasticity and mindfulness teach us is that what you practice grows stronger. It really comes very simply down to that. So we're getting to our first number one way to kind of really go from a sense of lack to abundance. And you're going to be so shocked and surprised to hear this from me. Do you hear the sarcasm? Meditation, mindfulness. Number one. So we can grow our compassion, our awareness, and our ability to appreciate and enjoy life. We can make that, those are muscles that we can actually grow stronger and make them more likely to sort of be fired off, that ability to appreciate and enjoy life. And one way to achieve a more positive outlook is through meditation. People meditate regularly, like Buddhist monks, have different neural structures. And this is according to research by a guy named Fadel Zaidan, and he's a research fellow in the Department of Neurobiology and Anatomy at the Wake Forest School of Medicine. Okay, so he's really looking at the brain, and he says that they have brain regions that can process much higher levels of compassion and awareness than a normal person. And a landmark study from 2008 found that experienced meditators had increased brain activity while hearing emotional sounds like crying or laughter than those with less experience. So it turns out that the act of meditation actually trained them to be more attuned to the needs of others. And research also suggests that these and other changes translate to lower levels of stress, lower levels of anxiety, and greater well-being. Wow, you increase your compassion for others and you increase your own sense of well-being. Pretty amazing, right? All without side effects. And you don't need to meditate for years on end to start reaping these benefits. One study showed the brain transformation after just 8 weeks of regular meditation. So it really doesn't take that long. But this elevated mood and enhanced sense of awareness isn't something meditators only experience while sitting with their eyes closed. And I can absolutely attest to this. This is something I've been really experiencing in my own life. So this is what that researcher, Fadel Zaidan, said. He said, the more you sit in meditation, the more your everyday non-meditative life looks like meditation. In everyday life, this might mean that you have an easier time shrugging off worries and that setbacks from traffic jams to major temper tantrums in your child, they don't hit you quite as hard. And so this is why I talk about meditation for us, for parents with busy lives, why it's so important. All of these things, like helping us reduce anxiety, helping us reduce reactivity, and then also being able to let go of the small stuff, because we have a barrage of difficult things heading our way as parents. And we, to be able to shrug off worries and setbacks more easily is a really, really important quality for us, right? So with meditation, your brain is effectively being rewired. As your feelings and thoughts morph towards a more pleasant outlook, your brain is also transforming, making this way of thought a little more of a default. And I want to throw in another thought in here about meditation. When we sit in meditation, we can't, it's kind of impossible. Like, we can't strive and work harder the American way, right, to make it better. And in fact, when we do that, what that does, it leaves us really spinning our wheels and stuck. And this happens to a lot of people. We're trying and we're trying and we're trying, and then we're like, oh, I can't do this, and I can't, quote unquote, clear my head. And you're not supposed to clear your head, so don't try. If you do, you're either dead or enlightened. So our brains are gonna keep spinning, but we can't really strive and make it better. So it's this really paradoxical thing, and this part can be really challenging for us. Because meditation is really an art of letting go. You might see so much chaos in your mind, right? And the truth is, you can't strive and work harder to control it. And meditation teaches us that our efforts to control are useless. Instead, we can sit and observe the chaos and practice to not react to that, and practice non-judgment, practice curiosity, practice kindness with our own stuff and our own messiness. And this can leave us with so much compassion, right, for other people, right? And with meditation, we start to see that we can just be, we can just sit there and just be, and being is enough. There's no problem to solve. There's nothing to do. Our being is enough. Simply relaxing into the present moment is enough. And it's this paradoxical thing that as we stop striving so hard and we start to relax and let go more, then the fruits of our meditation are revealed to us, right? Meditation teaches us to surrender our striving, and when we do that, all these wonderful gifts of the universe are revealed to us. We see that we can let go of our need to control, and things might actually get better, and we might actually get to enjoy the abundance of life more. Pretty cool, huh? So where attention goes, energy flows. And this is really true in neuroscience. And, when we start to practice meditation, we start to control our attention more. So we know we've already established, right, that we have this innate negativity bias. So one thing that's really interesting, think about this idea of attention. Like I've said this before, but if you look around where you are right now, and I say, look for all the red things, and you just look around, you are going to see maybe a bunch of red things pop out. Like I'm looking around my space, I'm seeing a whole bunch of red things. So when I'm looking for these red things, they're there. I can see them, right? But now start to look for all the blue things. Where do you see blue popping out? Where do you see blue in your space around you? And then you start to see, oh my goodness, there's all these different blue things I didn't even notice. There are all these blue things everywhere, right? So we find what we are looking for, and what we practice grows stronger. So when we focus on the scarcity, when we focus on the problems, when we let that innate negativity bias completely run the show, you're going to find that everywhere. They're going to magnify. But you can also focus on the beauty. You can focus on the appreciation. You can focus on, the blue things versus the red things. So you can start to take your attention and say, what feels better? And it's kind of weird. I'm giving you permission right here to focus on what feels good for your body. Because what your feelings of feeling good, those are good signs. Like those are signs that you're in a place that's healthy, that's healing, where you can be helpful to other people in the world. And when you're feeling bad, that's a sign that you can start to shift and start to change things. Bad feelings, those are just signs that there's something to shift here. There's something to learn from. There's something to change, and we can focus on. We can start to find what we're looking for, okay, and start to focus. What we focus on, will magnify, right? And sometimes when we focus on the problem, we expand it. Sometimes we need to shift our attention kind of completely out of it. Like when your child is, where you're just stuck in a loop and you're in a dynamic where you're with your relationship, everyone's being so critical and you're so frustrated and you start to see more of the annoying things they're doing. As we focus on the problem, we make it worse. We literally, because of our attention on the problem, we're making the problem worse. And I certainly have seen that in my own life. But then if I can be the one to change the dynamic, if I can then start to focus on what am I appreciating about my child, if I can start to notice what they're doing right, if I can start to let them have their mistakes and focus on myself and my own happiness a little bit more. It's amazing as I start to shift that dynamic, things get better. What I focus on grows. If I focus on what's working, that can really grow too. So my first most important call to action for you is to start your own regular meditation practice. It really changes the way you relate to the world and the way you think, right? And I have lots of resources for you to do that over at Mindful Mom at mindfulmamamentor.com, including you can go to mindfulmomguide.com, and there's a great teaching resource for you to start your own practice. And there's a whole bunch of wonderful resources for you on my website. So use them. There's all kinds of great things out there for you. So once we've started to meditate, we're started to gain more control over our attention, maybe things like that. Maybe not once you've started to, but simultaneously, you can also choose, really be conscious about choosing abundance, about training your thoughts. And this is our number 2. So choosing abundance and training your thoughts. So to enhance your transformation, start to train your brain toward that positivity, because what you practice grows stronger. What you practice grows stronger. So you can start to choose how you'd like to direct your thoughts. And so for me, most mornings, my practice is to sit in meditation, and then immediately afterwards, I practice affirmations. And affirmations are great right post-meditation because your brain is a little bit more receptive. And then I start to practice, what are the thoughts that are actually helpful in my life, that make me feel good, that help make me more capable and able to do this work that I love to do, which is sharing this wonderful stuff with you, sharing about mindfulness and mindful parenting and all this stuff, and to be able to have the courage to reach out to you. So I use affirmations in the morning to do that. And if you are in a state of scarcity, I have 2 wonderful affirmations for you to work with, okay? And the first one is, it is safe for me to enjoy life. It is safe. Say this with me to yourself. It is safe for me to enjoy life. And it's wonderful to put that, it is safe for me in the beginning, because that kind of cuts through our fear mindset. And it's safe for me to enjoy life. So it's just about giving ourselves permission to really be present, to feel good, to enjoy life, to enjoy our kids, and to not always be constantly doing and achieving, etc. Right? To enjoy the fruits of our labor, to enjoy them every day as much as we possibly can. And in fact, the more we enjoy them, the more we bring joy and happiness and peace into this world. So it is safe for you to enjoy life. So I invite you to write that down on a Post-it note, post it up in your car, say it in the morning, say it in the evening. Train your brain to let yourself start giving yourself permission to enjoy life. And if you've been stuck in a deep negativity loop, this can start to bring you out of that. It's a little jolt, the opposite. We're just watering those good seeds. The second affirmation for you to work with is, things are always working out for me. And this is kind of a fun one, because you're going to, as you start to use the affirmation, things are always working out for me, you're going to look for evidence of that in your life. Your brain will start to look for evidence of that. And you know, as we just talked about, what you look for, you find, and you're going to find the evidence of that. So I invite you to say it with me now. Things are always working out for me. And try it again later when you have some time to just think about like, well, yeah, you know what? Actually, I live in the United States, meaning I'm one of the top, I'm in the top 2% of like wealth in the world, right? And I have, maybe you have wonderful, healthy children. You're going to find all these things that are the evidence of things working out for you. So the two affirmations to work with when you're in a state of scarcity are, it is safe for me to enjoy life, and things are always working out for me. I love things are always working out for me because, I have those worries and anxieties too. And when I start to remember that things are always working out for me, I'm like, oh yeah. And I get to a place where I can do my work in the world and I can reach out to you and I can connect and I can do things like put on retreats and take people to Costa Rica and do all these crazy things, right? Because when I come from a place of things are always working out for me, it's safe. It's safe to step into a bigger place. It's exciting. All right, so we've talked about meditation. We've talked about choosing abundance and training your thoughts. And our final third thing is practicing appreciation and practicing gratitude. And so yesterday, I was in a funk in the afternoon. I had been up since early in the morning. I took my youngest daughter to a horse show and I was like cold and tired and smelly, like the barn. And I was feeling tired and feeling out of it. And we were going to an outdoor vow renewal party for some good friends of ours. But it was cold. Okay, so it's June here, you guys. And it was cold. It was like 58 degrees out and it was raining. It was like, oh my gosh. So I just was not, how would this rain? I was feeling ambivalence. I was kind of in a crabby mood anyway. I was frustrated with my daughter. And so I go to this party just feeling kind of this ambivalence, holding my umbrella, walking along, all bundled up in my sweater and things. And then I just get to this party and there's like all these, tents and tarps up and the ground is muddy, but it was, my friends were in such a state of beauty and appreciation of the world. And you know what, even though it's raining heavily, I think they must have invited about 100 people to this party and all of them came. And we all I was passed a little dram of whiskey, which warmed me up, and we all sort of squeezed into their house, which is kind of tiny, and we celebrated their union, and we celebrated love, and we celebrated the abundance, and we laughed at the rain. And this could have been this miserable place, but because I was surrounded with these people who were in an abundant mindset, who are in a mindset of gratitude and appreciation, it changed it for me. Appreciation, gratitude. This is another way to really start to combat that negativity and bias, right? To just water the opposite seeds. And I really invite you to start a gratitude practice of your own. So one of the first books I got that I ever got about, self-development or anything like that, was when I was a teenager, maybe a senior in high school, and I got this book called Simple Abundance. And I've been writing down 5 things I'm grateful for almost most nights since then. I have these journals of this. And it makes a big difference in your life. And research shows that it makes a big difference too. Practicing to appreciate, practicing to train our minds to appreciate your life right now, exactly as it is, it's really the fastest way to see the abundance in your life. But you don't have to take my word for it. Research really proves it, right? So gratitude improves our psychological health. It reduces a multitude of toxic emotions ranging from envy to resentment to frustration and regret. And this gratitude researcher, Robert Emmons, he's conducted multiple studies on the link between gratitude and well-being, and his research confirms that gratitude effectively increases happiness and reduces depression. So as you start to look around and see what you appreciate and what you focus on grows, you really increase your happiness, make your life more enjoyable. And gratitude enhances empathy and reduces aggression. So what does that mean? Grateful people are more likely to behave in ways that are helpful. They call it in the research pro-social manner, right? So even when others behave not so kindly, there's this 2012 study by the University of Kentucky, and participants who ranked higher on the gratitude scales were less likely to retaliate against others, even when given negative feedback. And they experience more sensitivity and empathy toward other people and a decreased desire to seek revenge. So it really makes a big change in our psychology and well-being, is this appreciation. It really can start to change everything, because what you focus on grows stronger as you start to train the brain to grow stronger. So there it is, my friend. Thank you so much for staying and hanging with me and here. This lack, right? We get into this lack mindset, but we can change our mindset and focus and grow our sense of abundance, our sense of joy of enjoying life. And the top 3 ways I really think are 3 things that are just so essential for this, that make all the difference in the world, that made a huge difference in my life and my client's life, is number 1, meditation, practicing mindfulness, being able to start to change the way we look at things, understanding where our thoughts are going rather than kind of be led around by them, and effectively rewiring your brain. And so practicing so that you can practice more non-judgment and curiosity and kindness and enjoy the abundance of your life. And you can go to mindfulmomguide.com to practice that. And then number 2, to train your thoughts, to really make an active, intentional choice to choose abundance. So if you make this choice to train your thoughts and choose abundance, you're going to start to find it everywhere. It's amazing. I look at the trees outside my window and the life that just bursts forth that we have to whack back with a weed whacker because it's so abundant. You might see, you're going to start to see it everywhere. I mean, really just look. After you listen to this today, walk around, look, see the life just bursting forth. This is no limited pie. This is like the more there is, right? So use those affirmations. It is safe for me to enjoy life, and things are always working out for me. And as what you focus on, you're going to start to find it. You're going to start to find it. I guarantee it. You're going to find evidence for their truth. And then finally, practice that appreciation, practice gratitude. Sometimes when I'm in a funk, I will say to myself, I'll go for a walk. I'll say, I'm grateful for my legs that are walking. I'm grateful for my shoes. I'll start to list the things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for that I have this nice path to walk on. I'm grateful that I live in a safe place where I can walk. I'll just start to list all the different things, because we just tend to overlook it. And that's very normal and natural. It's that negativity bias. That's just the way it is. So we have to just be very intentional about practicing the opposite, right? And as you practice gratitude, you're gonna increase your happiness. And as you increase your happiness, you know what? You're gonna have more happiness to give to your kids, to your partner, to your friends, to the world. And the wonders of life will just really start to open up to you. And it's really beautiful. So thank you so much for listening to this podcast today, this episode about moving from lack to abundance. If you have any ahas, you have any insights, feel free to email me and let me know. I love getting your messages, and I usually respond to everyone. So at hunter@mindfulmamamentor.com, or hit me up on Facebook or Twitter. I think at Twitter I'm at Hunter C Yoga, sort of random. And on Instagram. I'm on all those places. So you can find me and let me know. And if you like this podcast, I feel so grateful for the abundance of reviews and ratings. But you know what? If you haven't left one, I would love to have your review. It really makes a big difference for people who are trying to find the podcast or trying to find something, and we want to, water their good seeds too. And so the more we share it around, the more this community of people this tribe of amazing mindful mamas who are just, perfectly imperfect, working on just good enough and letting ourselves let go a little bit and enjoy life grows. And we want to grow that, right? Let's grow it more widely. It only helps all of us. So, it's my computer. So please do share it. And you're going to hear some banging as the podcast goes on this summer. I got someone building a house near me. Oh my gosh. I am working on the book this summer, and I have, just as an update, I'm working on the book. I'm so excited. Got my first chapter is going to be due to New Harbinger. I'm really excited about that. So I'll keep you updated as to my progress as the book goes along. We have filled those 2 group coaching spots, but I probably could have 1 or 2 one-on-one clients for the summer, where I'm trying to focus on the book. But if you would like to take this summer to transform your life, I work with women one-on-one for either 3 months or 6 months or the year of transformation. And if you're curious about that, you want to talk to me more about that, then go ahead and email me at hunter at mindfulmamamentor.com, or go to the Work With Me page and you can find out more about it, what past clients have said. And I do have to say that when I have taken the leap to jump in and invest with a one-on-one coach, it really makes a huge difference. It's a huge shortcut to my growth, to my ability to enjoy life and to be there for my kids and to improve my relationships and all of those things. So it can make a huge difference. And I work with all kinds of people. I've worked with, everyone from Montessori teachers to accountants to stay-at-home moms to all kinds of really amazing women. So you can check them out if you want to check them out at the coaching page. You can just go over to Work With Me. And then otherwise, the Mindful Parenting Teacher Training, if you're interested in that, email me. We are trying to get going that first round of teacher training, and we don't have CEUs available yet, but actually that is in the works now. We've had so many requests for that, so that's pretty exciting. And yeah. And then in fall, just if you're in the California area, keep an eye on this space, because I am now starting to think about a day-long retreat in the LA, Irvine, California area around maybe the first Friday in November. So if that would interest you, you can let me know. So these are all you can keep an eye out also on mindfulmamamentor.com/events, which I need to update. And I'll stop rambling on. I really appreciate you. I appreciate your ears. I'm so glad we get to make this connection every week, and I can't wait for you to hear some of the amazing stuff that's coming up. I'm super excited for next week for you to hear Julie Lithcott-Hames on how to raise an adult. So make sure you hear that. And if you have any questions, head to mindfulmamapodcast.com. If you want that free audio guide, go to mindfulmomguide.com. And I send you love. I send you wishes for your own happiness. I want you to enjoy your life as fully as you possibly can. And when you do that, you make things better for all of us. So don't be shy about enjoying your life. Please, please, please. All right. Have a great week, my friend. Namaste. Are you a mom who wants to feel less stressed and enjoy motherhood more? Do you want to be calmer with your kids and be more present for all of your life? I'm a mom who has gone from really being stressed and yelling when my kids were young to having a more grounded, more at ease relationship with life and having more enjoyable cooperative relationships with my kids. And I've shown hundreds and thousands of women around the world how to do this. And I want to show you how to do it too. So if you are currently feeling stuck or stagnant, this is definitely for you. I've created a free downloadable Audible training, Mindfulness for Moms, the superpower you need. And it will show you how to respond rather than react, how to let go of stress and feel more grounded in seconds, how to have a smoother day today and become more present for your kids for a lifetime. To get on this audio training absolutely free, simply visit the website www.mindfulmomguide.com.